And we are back now at Newtown Middle School for the special edition of This Week. I'm joined by our Chief Justice correspondent, Pierre Thomas, the Mayor of Hartford, Pedro Segarra, and thank you both for joining us. I want to talk a little bit more about the law enforcement aspects of this. And Pierre, 4 months ago, August, coming out of Aurora, you said we would be here again all too soon.
Didn't mean to be prophetic, but these are just the facts. In this country, we have a love affair with guns. They are sold commercially. In fact, the FBI did background checks on Black Friday to Sunday, the Friday after Thanksgiving, and there were 154,000 gun checks on that day alone. And in fact, in November, for the month of November, Americans attempted to buy 2 million guns. So what that means is that people who are heading to the dark side, if you will, they have easy access to weapons. This is a very complicated situation.
The guns are everywhere. What people will point out, of course, is that in this case, the shooter didn't have to go buy a gun. They were right there in the home.
Well, we have information that the mom or the family had at least 5 weapons readily available. And assault-style rifles are bought and sold in this country pretty much like handguns. And the particular weapon we believe that was used in this particular crime has the capacity, the assault-style rifle, of 30 weapons. Typically, it can fire. It also can hold up to 100 or more rounds. And it can fire those bullets within seconds.
And you've made the point, the volume of the gun sales means we're beyond the point of no return. There are so many guns out there right now in the United States.
To use the cliche, the genie's out of the bottle. There are more than 200 million plus guns already in circulation. So if you stop selling them today, forever, they are not biodegradable. They're not going anywhere. So you would have to figure out how to remove them from the streets. That would be very difficult.
But Mayor, you have been working on that in the city of Hartford. You've had some success with buying those guns back.
We did. We had a gun buyback program about a couple of weeks ago. We're a small city of 125,000, yet in less than 3 hours, almost 1 weapon per minute was turned in. So there is a desire on behalf of the communities to turn these weapons back in, although I don't know how much of those efforts could lead to preventing something similar from happening to what happened here in Newtown. But there is a need to have some focus on using a systems approach, because there are different systems that come at play here in terms of mental health systems, but we have been effective, and just also by working through our shooting task force and other programs that we've had to try to limit the number of shootings. But you know, this is a wake-up call. In addition to the things that have been happening, and if this crisis, if this horrific incident does not send a message that some stronger and immediate action needs to happen in our country, I don't know what will.
You have joined a coalition of mayors who've called for more action. President Obama said it's time on Friday for meaningful action. What specifically would you like to see?
First of all, I think that as soon as we get through this process of trying to help our community heal, have the U.S. Conference of Mayors, through the leadership of Mayor Bloomberg, Mayor Menino, and our U.S. Conference Chair from Philadelphia, Mayor Nutter, come together. I mean, we're the closest. The towns and cities are the closest to having to deal with the effects of these violence. So it should be incumbent upon us to solidify ourselves, to be a more powerful voice, more powerful than we've ever been, in coming together to make sure that we start with things such as a ban on assault weapons, to make sure that we put the pressure on and really meet the challenge of having some balance. What we're asking is for some balance. We do recognize our constitutional right to bear arms, but I think that this has gone to a point now that to afford some people with the ability of conducting these mass exterminations is just not what we need.
And this has struck home for you personally, your father and 2 friends, the victims of gun violence.
Absolutely. My father was killed when I was a year old. I never got to meet him. Never got to know what it is to have a father. So this hits very close. And I ended up in Connecticut because I lived in the South Bronx, where 2 of my closest childhood friends were killed as children through guns. So I feel very strongly about it. I'm very emotionally invested, but I recognize that it's going to have to take a group of very dedicated people to working together, because we do need to tap different social systems. I worked as a psychotherapist. When you get people that are distraught into a clinical setting, it doesn't take very long to find out that there's a problem. The issue becomes, how do we reach out in a way that eliminates the potential for these folks to do this damage by having a wider net.
Mayor Segarra, Pierre Thomas, thanks very much. Much more of our special edition of This Week ahead. Our roundtable joins us next.